Okay, in the last video we left off on a zygote, and the zygote's a fertilized egg. So we'll keep going here. We're going to take a look at, again, meiosis this chapter, and it's making the sperm cells or the egg cells. And in meiosis, there is actually two steps of it. So if I start out with one cell, and it goes through what's called meiosis 1, that cell is going to divide and form two cells. And they are no longer identical like happens in mitosis. This one starts out as 2N, and these end up as what's called N. Okay, that's meiosis 1. And it doesn't stop there. It goes through another step where those then are going to divide and form two cells. And that step is called meiosis 2. And then it's done. This is as far as it goes, and all of these cells are haploid also. So the only cell that starts out as diploid is that first cell. So that, in a nutshell, that's what we're going to be taking a look at. And it gets a little bit in depth and sometimes a little bit complex, but that's what we're going to be taking a look at. Once again, if I take a look at these sister chromatids, so let's say I'm taking a look at dad, the chromosome number 1 I got from dad, okay? And then if I compare it to chromosome number 1 that I got from mom. So there they are. Those are homologous chromosomes. They are both chromosome number 1. One from dad, one from mom. I have both of those. And again, I would have 23 sets of those. But I'm just going to take a look at chromosome number 1. Those are homologous chromosomes. During the S phase of mitosis, and actually of meiosis 1, oops, dang it. If I take a look at the S phase of mitosis and meiosis 1, it's going to double those. Sorry, I erased what I didn't really want to. So it will do that for both of them. So I've made what are called sister chromatids. If I numbered those 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 and 2 are sister chromatids. They're called a dyad. They're exact copies of each other. 3 and 4 are sister chromatids. They are exact copies of each other. Again, the one from dad are the black ones, and the one from mom are the red ones. This is just chromosome number 1. They're held together what's called a centromere. Now, the non-sister chromatids would be 1 and 3, or 1 and 4, or 2 and 3, and 2 and 4. They're homologous, which means they're all 4 chromosome number 1. It's just that they are not exact. The non-sister chromatids are 1 and 3 and 4, 2 and 3 and 4. None of those are sister chromatids. Okay, they form what's called a synapse in meiosis 1. And what does that mean? It means that they actually are joined together. So that one from dad and the one from mom are together. They form a synapsis, or what's called a tetrad, because there's 4 of them total if you would count them, or a bivalent if I count the 2 homologous pairs together. So 2 homologous chromosomes, each made up of 2 sister chromatids. And something else that happens is called crossing over. And that's when a little piece of non-sister chromatids kind of break off and then switch with each other. And I will show that more tomorrow, but let's say this little piece, if I take a look at this little piece, that red one that I'm erasing there, and the black one I'm erasing, if they would switch. So a little chunk of the red would go on the black, and then a little chunk from the black would go on the red. That process is called crossing over. We'll take a better look at that tomorrow. Okay. When I'm taking a look at this process of meiosis, what's the biggest example or what's the biggest advantage of this process? It's variation. Variation is the number one advantage of sexual reproduction. And just a huge amount of variation takes place. If I'm just taking a look at the genetic shuffling of the chromosomes themselves, so when I make a sex cell, my sperm cell is going to either have chromosome number 1 from my mom or my dad. So it's 50-50, 1 out of 2 chances. Then 1 out of 2 on the next one, and the next one, and the next one, down to 23 of them. So what that means is, if you remember how we did probability, if I take that 2 and raise it to the power of 23, the odds that I will give the same chromosome to any 2 sperm cells are 1 in 8,388,608. Okay, and then if I'm taking a look at any of my children, I have to take that and square it, because this is the probability for me, and then I'd have the same probability for my wife. So when I take those times each other, the odds that any one of my children have the exact same chromosomes are astronomical. 7.036 times 10 to the 13. So it's just not going to happen. It's a huge advantage of sexual reproduction. That's why our offspring are all so much different. Okay, and that is where we will stop for today. I will send you out an assignment, and I'll probably talk to you tomorrow. Thanks.